Some of you remember my little mishap I had when the wind hit this livestock shed, sheep shed in my case, and how it was bent over. If you don't remember, let me show you a picture of it. So that's what happened. And the reason it happened is because that wind was so hard, and this just acted as like a sail, that it pulled. It actually, when it bent this cattle, when it pushed this cattle panel, it pulled the nails out that were nailing, or the screws that were going in here. Screws are nails. I think I had nails in it actually, and I mean bent the dog out of the cattle panel. And I showed you how to straighten out a cattle panel. If you hadn't seen it, I'll put a link to that right about now. So let me show you the process of what I have done to straighten out and rebuild and make secure this livestock shed. So first of all, I need to do something to stabilize these corners here. And let me show you what I've done here. And I'll show you the process. But I made some T's that are bolted to the runners and bolted to the cross piece. And now I can pull this thing around and not have any problems. And let me just show you what I used, the material I used in the process. So here's what I'm going to use. This was part of an old shelf. It's pretty sturdy stuff. It's one piece of metal that they bent into a T, and pretty sturdy. We're ready to go. Before I started cinching this down, I did square it up with a big long square. So it's square, it's good to go. Okay, so I finished the brackets and went ahead and put the tarp on it, ready to drag it out in the pasture. We got rain coming tomorrow. This is temporary, the horizontal board there, that's just to keep my donkey out so the sheep can get in out of the weather. I'm not being cruel to the donkey, it's just that he can handle it a whole lot better than they can. And that'll give it plenty of stability. Now let me be clear, if you're building a greenhouse with with the front door frame and the window frame in the back, this is unnecessary. These brackets. Now if you were gonna drag it a lot, if you were gonna move it around your property a lot, or if you're building something like a goat shed that you're gonna be moving around, then you might want to consider that. Again, you can buy these tees. I'll try to find a link to some of those tees, and you can buy them already made, and that would be a pretty good addition to it if you're going to be moving it a lot. If it's going to be stationary, the design is plenty strong. I hadn't heard anybody complain about the and I've had people. They literally built this thing all over the world. I get people from Spain and Finland, and one guy in the Sudan bought plans to it. I don't know what that's all about, but I'm glad to do it. I'm glad to see this. So this is kind of a cool thing. But anyway, as far as a goat shed, again, this is greenhouse design for a goat shed. You can come in here if you want to and put the uprights and frame it up just like a greenhouse. I just wanted to make it a little bit more accessible. If they're not, until they're sure of it, they may not even want to go under that horizontal bar. That may scare them a little bit to go under there, even though I've got it raised up plenty high. But I think for the donkey, I think it's low enough that he won't attempt it. Anyway, but if you're making just a greenhouse, you don't need these brackets unless you want to just be double safe and and or if you're dragging it around a lot. If you're moving it from shade to sun in your yard or in your pasture, you know, shade in the summertime, sun in the spring and fall, then you may want to add something like that. Just gives it a little bit more stability. And by the way, this is the same one that was bent up in that windstorm. I think I may have told you that. This is the one. Straighten out the cattle panels. Showed you how to do that. And you know, not perfect, but pretty straight. Did a pretty good job. Well, that worked out perfectly. Crossbars are high enough for them to feel comfortable going in, and low enough to keep Jack out. He's under the big cedar tree. That is a 3-panel shed, and I've got 18 sheep in it right now. That'll give you an idea how many animals can go in. So here's the finale. T-braces on, and again, you can buy those T-braces. I'm too cheap. I just made mine. I had the stuff, so I just went ahead and made it, and I like a challenge. But here's the final product. Now, instead of doing a T-brace on it, instead of coming up and then going across, I decided, now that I've separated my donkey and he's not in with him anymore, I decided this is just a better way. Just screwed, that is a 1x4, 8 feet long, screwed it to the runner, on the front of the runner, and then up here I just put a fence staple in the end of that board just to hold it to the cattle panel here. Again, this is a 3 cattle panel shed, livestock shed, and this configuration, one going this way and on the backside one going that way, that's real sturdy. Not gonna have wind damage again like I did before. Anyway, I hope you got something out of this. If you pull yours around a lot, you may need some kind of T-brace. If you're in a windy area and you're building this type of shed, not the greenhouse. The greenhouse is plenty sturdy with the 2 uprights and then the crossbar and the door and the window, stuff like that. The greenhouse is plenty sturdy. I hadn't had any complaints from anybody that said that lives in snowy areas and windy areas. They tie them down sometimes, but they don't hadn't had any problem with with bending like I did. But again, mine had no supports whatsoever. Now it does. We're good. So anyway, thought I'd show it to you, and you may want to build one. I call it Greenhouse Part 4, but you know what it is. It's the greenhouse design, the greenhouse frame, but it's a shed for livestock. And I've had tons of people that took this idea and ran with it and have done some neat stuff, some pretty neat stuff. So this is it, Greenhouse Part 4. It ain't a swaying no more. We gone.